So you say you want to be a corporate photographer, videographer. I want to dive into what it's like working with corporate clients. Now, let me be clear. When you're working with corporate clients, you don't always start at the top. You may not start with the Lexus Toyotas or the Walmarts or whomever's. Sometimes it may start with small companies. It may be a nonprofit organization. It may be someone who works in tech. But when working with those corporate companies, you have to be mindful of their needs. And sometimes these needs can be a little bit more nuanced than family portraits or weddings. It may be that they're doing new videos to boost brand recognition and marketing. It may be that they're taking new pictures so that they can promote a new product for sales. It may be capturing an event to retell this event as they begin to market for the next year. Every client has a different need, but the reality is the psychology of most corporate clients is pretty much the same. They want a quality product at an affordable price, and affordable skews widely depending on who you're talking to. If you're talking to a nonprofit organization, affordable may be a lot less than if you're talking to somebody with a big budget like an automotive company, right? And so it's up to you to figure out, where do I fall in line when I'm sending my solution over to that client. So you have to be mindful of asking the right questions. So when I work with a corporate client, almost 100% of the time, one of the first few questions I'm gonna ask is, well, what's your budget? Because I wanna know where they are on that spectrum. Are y'all on the high end or are y'all on the low end? Is it gonna be, I'm getting a couple $100 for this project or a couple $1,000s? And sometimes I have to know when to say no. Sometimes it's not worth my time to be able to go all in on a project, but I have to identify that early. And what that's called is finding your no. When you're first vetting a client, in the beginning, all clients are good clients. I want all the money, I need everything. But as your business continues to grow and scale, you have to be able to identify which kind of corporate client really works best for you. You're gonna have some clients who are gonna be very type A, and I know exactly what I want. I've got an RFP that lines out exactly everything I need, the type of shot, where the shot's gonna be located, who you're taking pictures of. We need you at this time, and then you're moving here, and it's gonna be this much, and this is how much we've got budgeted to get paid, and everything is all lined up, and it's all great, and you're like, I know exactly what's going on. Okay, here, I'm gonna show up, I'm gonna do the thing, you go and you kill it, and it's great. Then you got some other clients who's gonna be like, look, man, we got a budget of $4,000. We have never done this before in our lives, in the history of the moments that we've been in business, and so we're just gonna trust what you're gonna do, and we see your work, it looks great, and we're gonna hope for the best, and it's on you. So $4,000, what can you do? And then you got to figure it out, because you are the service provider, you are the solution. And so that's why I say, when you're working with corporate clients, you have to be mindful about how you're being a solution. How are you making ways for them to make it easier on them as they build their business, right? As they are growing. Your goal as a photographer, as a videographer, is to create a narrative and tell a story for them to be able to get more business. And when they get more business, that means you get more business, because if they are making money, that means they need to reinvest that money in their business by hiring you to tell more stories. Now, you got some people that you'll work with, they'll do, activations where they're branding and marketing at a football game, et cetera. You've got nonprofits who will do events and activations for the people that they serve, that they're just getting, video testimonials and things to tell their stories to donors. Like, there's a myriad of things that you may do in the corporate space. But ultimately, your goal here is to identify who you're working with and how to make them happy, or who you're working with and how to make the decision maker on the other side of them happy. Sometimes the person you're talking with is not actually the decision maker in the room. They may be the marketing manager, or the title may be, coordinator or something. You have to be mindful of those titles when you're emailing. You got your managers, your coordinators. Sometimes they may not have as much sway as working with the director or the chief XYZ. Everybody pretty much answers to somebody. And because photography is not always the high level objective situation, you're usually working with someone who's got a boss that they've got to take your information back to. So you want to make it as clear as possible when you're communicating with them, because they're going to go back and communicate with the team. They're going to give it to the group, and then that group is going to sit at a table in an office meeting, and they're going to look over your stuff, and if your proposal's not in alignment, or the price is too high, or what have you, they look at the other guys and they like what they see on the other guy's proposal better. First impressions are everything. So once you get to that no on that end, that's a wrap. They're moving on. Oh, we found somebody better. 50% of the time, it might be that they were cheaper. 50% of the time, it might just look like they had better work. So you have to be mindful to make yourself appear at your best at all times. That means your website needs to be on point. Your proposals needs to be on point. There's too many solutions out there in the design world. Canva, Photoshop templates, too much out there for you to be sending a Word document proposal or a Keynote PowerPoint proposal and not have something that looks crisp and clean. If you want a company to spend $10,000 on you, I've seen people send proposals that is just like a full page long of text and be like, I don't know why they didn't choose me. You need to make it crystal clear. Here's what we do. Here, your proposal should say who we are, what we do, and what you get, right? I'm JCI Creatives. I'm going to do corporate photography. You're going to get these line items. Here's the stuff we're going to cover. And that's what you get, right? Like, make it as clean as possible. A lot of people are not going to read your whole proposal. They're going to flip right through the pricing page. You have to be mindful of that when you're working with corporate clients. And that's how you present your information. Make it as concise as possible so they can get straight to what they need to take it to their boss to make the decision. Everything that you're doing as a photographer or a videographer, graphic designer, content creation, solution person, everything that you're doing as a service provider is supposed to be geared around making it easier for them. Think about when you work a job, right? When you work a full-time job, you don't want to have to nitpick something with somebody. You don't want to have to go back and forth on edits. Anytime you had to look over something 3 or 4 times because they weren't getting it right, automatically you were turned off. You're like, I'm not working with these people again. I'm going to find somebody else the next time. More than likely, that's why they're talking to you now, because they had a photographer and the photographer got their stuff back to them extra late, or they just weren't fun to be around, or they didn't communicate well. So now they're talking to you. So your job is to make it easy to take it easy. I don't even want you to have to think about it. I'm so good at what I do that all I need to know is where and what time, and I'm going to give you a product that you like because that's just who I am. I got some of my people that I've worked with for years now, when they send me a schedule, and that's it. They say, okay, here's the budget. Let's get the contract in place. Here's the schedule for the weekend. And I show up, say, hey, how y'all doing? And I go to work. And I go in and I handle my business. I'll show up every now and then into the office and say, hey, here's how it's going, or to cut some videos or to edit some stuff to pass over for their social media. And I get right back to work. And that's really where you want to get to as a corporate content creator, right? You want to make sure that you're getting to a point where you're providing a solution that is extremely easy for them to say yes to. That when they see that website, they see the content that you create, they feel the experience and how professional you are when you're sending the proposal and the invoice, how promptly you respond. Why would I say no to that? Clearly, they know what they're doing. So you want to be that guy or girl. You want to be that person, right? So make sure that that's how you are showing up every day in your business. That's it. Pretty straightforward like that. That's what it's like working with corporate clients. And so if you're looking to find more corporate clients, you need to be proactive about getting out there and getting in front of those folks. We'll talk about that in another video, though. If you like what you heard here today, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Jaron Collins with Greenwood Co., JCI Creatives. Y'all know the vibes. We are in this thing. Make sure y'all check me out next time. As always, peace and brand responsibly.